Visceral fat is the most dangerous fat on your body. Unlike regular body fat, it's metabolically active, meaning it's just sitting there pumping inflammatory compounds directly into your bloodstream 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Research shows there's a specific combination of workouts that have been proven to eliminate visceral fat faster than anything else. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what that system is and give you a precise weekly schedule to follow. There are 3 workouts that make up the system, but the one that matters most might actually surprise you. I'll reveal that after I show you what most people are doing right now, which is actively making their visceral fat even worse. By the way, my name is Dan Go. I owned a gym for 11 years. I sold that in 2018, and since then, I've been helping high-achieving entrepreneurs transform their health and bodies with ease and minimal stress. And I've run thousands of DEXA scans on clients from bootstrap founders to billionaires, and there is one pattern I see over and over again. And it's the fat that's destroying their health, their performance, and their longevity, and it is the fat that they can't see. So visceral fat wraps around your liver, your pancreas, and your intestines, and mostly because it's metabolically active, it doesn't just sit there quietly, it's working against you around the clock. And here's what the research shows what it's actually doing to you. So visceral fat reduces blood flow to the brain, causing measurable shrinkage in areas responsible for memory and emotional regulation. A 2025 analysis found that 73% of executives show cognitive decline linked to visceral fat, with memory dropping 15 to 30%. Second is multiplying your disease risk. So people with high visceral fat have 10 times higher odds of hypertension, 6 times higher odds of diabetes, and all-cause mortality rises by 81%. And third, it is cutting your life short. So cardiovascular risk jumps by 55%. Stroke risk increases by 45%. Every half unit rise in visceral adiposity boosts cardiovascular death by 19%. This means you're not just carrying extra weight, you're literally carrying a ticking time bomb wrapped around your organs. And the part that most people completely miss is that you can look lean and still be loaded with visceral fat. The mirror can lie to you, but your DEXA scan won't. Now, I had a client who was super successful, 8-figure founder, great family. He was averaging around 55-hour work weeks, and his visceral fat was dangerously high. And this guy wasn't just sitting on the couch. He was literally working out harder than most people I knew. We're talking about 45 minutes of steady state cardio every single day. And he thought he was doing everything right because he was doing more than 99% of people. But here's what nobody told him. All that excessive daily cardio was spiking his cortisol through the roof. And I want to explain exactly what was happening inside of his body, because once you understand this mechanism, you're never going to look at cardio the same way again. So you probably know this, but cortisol is your primary stress hormone. And according to research published by Thayer et al., chronic high-intensity cardio constantly elevates cortisol levels. And here's a problem. When you have chronically elevated cortisol, it's one of the primary drivers of visceral fat accumulation, especially in the midsection. Now, we have to put this into the context of my client, where he was already drowning in cortisol from running an 8-figure business, managing a team, raising a family. Then every single day he would go and punish himself on the treadmill for 45 minutes and pour more cortisol on top of it. So his body was a permanent stress response. And on top of that, excessive cardio without strength training accelerates muscle loss. And less muscle means a slower metabolism. A slower metabolism means the visceral fat doesn't go anywhere. And his DEXA scan told the real story. Despite doing months of daily cardio, his visceral fat was higher than when he started. He was doing so much more, but getting worse. And it wasn't that he was lazy or undisciplined. He was just pulling the wrong lever, and that lever was actually making his problem worse. So we scrapped his entire approach, replaced it with the 3-workout system I'm about to give you, and at the 90-day mark, something happened that I want to share with you, but let me give you the full protocol first so the result actually means something. The first one is high-frequency strength training. So most people train their muscle groups once a week, and that's a mistake. Research done by Brad Schoenfeld found that training muscle groups twice per week significantly enhances muscle hypertrophy compared to once weekly. More frequency equals better results, and I talked about it in this video over here. And here's why this matters specifically for visceral fat. A study done in Nature Reviews Endocrinology found that skeletal muscle mass acts as what they call a metabolic sink. It absorbs and stores large amounts of glucose and fatty acids in your blood. More muscle mass means your body is actually burning more energy at rest, regulating blood sugar and pulling fat out of storage even while you sleep. And this protects you against metabolic slowdown. We mentioned that already. That usually kills most fat loss efforts. And when you diet or even do excessive cardio without adequate strength training, you will lose muscle. When you lose muscle, you lose more of this metabolic sink, and then this is when the visceral fat comes right back. Now, this isn't about lifting heavy once and calling it a week. Frequency is the variable most people are completely leaving on the table. So my protocol is 3 workouts per week, compound lifts, making sure you're hitting all major muscle groups at least twice, and you want to have at least 1 day of rest in between your workouts. You want to do full body workouts. And again, I talked about it on this video over here, and you can check out that video for the template that I shared. So Workout number two is not going to be excessive cardio. It's going to be daily walking. And I tell every single client this, and I will keep saying it until the cows come home. Walking is the most underrated fat loss tool on the planet. A systematic review found a clear dose response relationship between moderate intensity walking and visceral fat reduction. So, the more consistently you walk, the more visceral fat you lose. It's that direct. But walking works for reasons that most people don't consider. First is that it lowers cortisol. So, research done by Terra et al. Found that walking is one of the only forms of exercise that reliably reduces cortisol rather than spiking it. Second, it's sustainable. You can walk every single day and it will actually help recover instead of hinder it. And walking compounds because you never need a day off away from it. And third, at moderate intensities, your body pulls a higher percentage of energy directly from fat stores compared to high intensity work, which primarily burns glycogen. The movement you get outside the gym matters as much as the exercise that you do inside of it. Now, the protocol is simple. 1 to 2 brisk 30-minute walks a day, making sure you're hitting at least 8,000 to 10,000 steps. And we do this with our clients where they walk through the calls, they get an under the desk treadmill, they do walking meetings, they listen to podcasts while they're walking. They're basically turning all dead time into walking time. And by the way, if you want the full, complete visceral fat removal protocol we use with our clients, comment the word lean right down below and I'll send it to you. All right, let's get into the third workout. And this is the one I told that might surprise you. And it's doing 1 hit session per week. That's it. High intensity cardio accelerates the visceral fat loss. And research published in the Journal of Obesity found that HIIT training triggers the release of epinephrine, norepinephrine, and growth hormone. And these hormones specifically target visceral fat stores in a way that steady state cardio simply cannot match. A 2024 randomized controlled trial found that just 1 HIIT session per week for 8 weeks significantly reduced belly fat and waist circumference in overweight men. And my protocol is simple. I call it the 3-minute burn. And it's 2 minutes at a moderate pace, followed by 1 minute at an all-out pace done for 4 rounds. You could do this on a bike, with hill sprints, or with battle ropes. Choose whatever weapon that you want. You just do it once a week and then you move on. Also want to point out that more does not equal better here. Once per week is the dose. Now, the most important part of this workout structure is making sure that we're prioritizing the work to recovery ratio. So here's exactly how I would structure this week if you wanted to get the most out of it. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are going to be your high frequency strength training. It's going to be full body, making sure that we're hitting every muscle group twice per week. Every single day, we're going to have at least 1 to 2 brisk 30-minute walks, 8,000 to 10,000 steps, non-negotiable. We talked about this already. And Saturday or Sunday, but preferably I like to do this on Saturday, I do 1 HIIT session a week and making sure that my heart rate is getting above 85% and doing the 3-minute burn that I talked about. So that's 3 lifting sessions a week, daily walking, and 1 HIIT session a week. And the beauty about this is the fact that you're training smart, not long. You're hitting the exact levers that move visceral fat the fastest without burying yourself in cortisol every single morning. So when we put my client on this exact system with the diet and sleep routines we have in our visceral fat removal protocol system, we lost 75% of his visceral fat in 90 days. And I shit you not, he was doing half of the work, and in 90 days, he dropped 75% of his visceral fat. And that's when it clicked for him, because what I realized is that most people are not lazy, they're not undisciplined, they're just pulling on the wrong levers. So something I want you to understand is that these workouts are about 30% of the system. The other 70% is how you eat, how you manage your stress, and how you sleep. So if you want the full system, comment down below, lean, I'm going to send it to you. And thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.